Hello everyone, welcome to eTech Facebook Live Fridays. I'm Tech Bob, and today we're going to be talking about micro soldering and why it's important for you to have this skill if you don't already. So to kick things off, micro soldering we see as the higher level skill set when it comes to repairs. That includes FPC repair, backlight repair, knocked off component repair, TriStar audio IC, just to name a few. But it's a very high level skill that when you hear high level, you think very complicated. Not necessarily. There are some things you need to acquire this skill or to get good at this skill. Patience is a big one. Just like when starting out with repair, it's important to take your time and learn from mistakes you may make, which with micro soldering, you definitely will make some mistakes. It's part of the learning process. But the important thing here is to understand why you should have this skill. If you get customers coming into your shop currently that say, I have an iPad that needs a charging port replaced. If you have any iPad past the iPad, what is that, Air? All the charging ports are soldered on. I know there's some pros here and there where they're plug and play with a connector, but most of them are soldered on, and you may be turning those away right now or referring them to their business or shipping them out. It's better to do it yourself. Obviously, because you get the business, but two, it helps with your name. It gives you a more reputable company when they know you can do all the high level stuff too. So for example, some things with board level repair, as far as why you should be doing them aside from being reputable, they're very high margin repairs. On average, I would say most board level repairs are $70+. Just an example for retail. It may be different per area, but that's just what we see on average. The part cost is on average sub $5 because you're talking about a resistor, a capacitor, an IC. A lot of these chips or components are pretty inexpensive. And then your labor, most of these repairs take about 30 minutes once you get good at them. That's not included disassembly, obviously, taking the board out and putting it back in. But as far as the board level repair, the micro soldering repair, takes about 30 minutes. So it's a pretty quick thing to do. Now, when it comes to board level repair, aside from the high margin things, if you have multiple techs in your shop, say 3 or 4, and they're learning or they make mistakes, that can get pretty expensive, right? Because you're either having to replace devices or outsource that repair. A common one we see is backlight damage, which comes from not unplugging the battery and disconnecting and connecting the screen. Another common one is knocked off components or damaged FPC connectors. Again, those are all fairly straightforward to fix, and you could do them yourself with that skill. Now, jumping into the next part of today's stream, so I've gone over the importance, which I hope I made pretty clear by now. The second thing is, so how did I learn micro soldering? The original way everyone learned before there were training schools and all these videos out there is just trial and error. You see this broken part, you take that broken part off, you put the part on, and hopefully you don't break other things in the process. Which, with micro soldering, depending on if you're using the iron or the hot air rework gun, it can cause some damage. So that learning process is a little bit more difficult. The more recommended way is to go to a micro soldering or board level repair school. There's a number of them across the country. We all offer micro soldering training or board level repair training ourselves, which I'm going to switch to another screen in a second to show you those options on our website. And the third kind of option for training would be, it's still the do-it-yourself way, but it's following videos on YouTube. The good thing is nowadays, you can type in a device name and an issue on YouTube and find a million videos on it. The bad part about that is it's not like that YouTube verifies the accuracy of what you're seeing in the video. Someone could be showing you a backlight repair and they're knocking off components in the process or damaging other components. Just a potential example, right? So it's good to learn the service and the skill from someone that knows how to do it. So to jump into that side of thing, just some training options I want to show everyone. This is our website here. I'm going to go into the repairs and training menu. And then over here under training, we have Apple, Samsung, On Demand, and board level micro soldering training. These are the options I'm going to show today. So this first one is an hourly rate. If you have one of the, or you request a type of micro soldering repair that you want to learn that's not listed here, that's where this one would come into play. But for these other options here, soldered charging port repair training. This is probably our most common one, and this is the one we recommend for beginners. If you've never touched an iron to a board, start with this one. First reason, it's one of the more common things you're going to get from customers off the street. And second, it's probably the easier one to do because you're not dealing with little components just yet. You are dealing with very small pads, in some cases like this iPad charging port here, but it's the easiest to learn. And you can definitely damage some things doing it if you don't do it right, but there's less that you can damage with this one right here. So that's the first one we recommend. TriStar and audio IC repair training. This one can be summed up as just an IC replacement. So TriStar is the most common one we see from the customer where the charging circuit is damaged and replacing the charging port, replacing the battery doesn't fix it. TriStar is usually the cause. So this training shows you how to replace that IC as well as the audio IC, which is common on the 7 7 Plus. Again, another common manufacturer defect that we've seen over the years. And I didn't mention that in the first part explaining the importance of it, but there are manufacturer defects out there. And if you're the repair shop that can fix them versus telling the customer to go to the manufacturer where they may be told they can't fix it or it's impossible, it's kind of cheesy to say, but you're making the impossible possible. So again, pretty cool thing to see for the customer to see if you can fix something that, I won't name any manufacturers, but the manufacturer says you can't fix it. Backlight repair training. Again, this one's not super common that you're going to see off the street from customers, but if a technician doesn't unplug a battery, plugs the screen in, or unplugs the screen, that can damage the backlight filters, diodes, coils, and you would be able to fix that. Now, another big thing here is not just your own technicians, but say you're a repair shop in an area that's very saturated with other repair shops and no one is doing board level, you can advertise this type of service to your competitors. It may not always go over well, but you can tell them you're not trying to take their customer business, but if they do run into something they can't handle, mainly board level, it's probably way cheaper to bring it to you down the street than ship it out to someone else or full on replace the device. Just a good way to spin it if you need that. FPC replacement, so that's your connector damage. Knocked off components, again, that typically happens during repair when being rough with a spudge or a pry tool. And then this complete session right here. So this includes all of the sessions listed above, as well as the game console board repair training, which I'll get to in a second. So this is a 3-day sort of session. You would come here to our office. We go through every single training option here. And we also, so it doesn't spell it out. I'll go into one of these just to kind of show how the details listed. It does let you know what you get with the training. So for example here, the location, it's here. Level, time requirement. So typically we find 3 to 4 hours is the average. Sometimes we go a little bit longer, or if you pick it up super quickly, we can jump on to some other things. We can't do full other sessions though for the price of one because before I get ahead of mouth. So the best way to explain this is if you're trying to learn too much too fast, you don't learn anything well. So that's why we recommend do one at a time, or if you do want to do everything, all the courses, that's why we split it across 3 days. So that way you learn a couple repairs one day, go back to your hotel, digest the information, come back the second day fresh and keep learning from there. Because what we don't want to do is pile everything on in one day and you get back to your shop and don't remember anything, which isn't going to help anyone, right? Devices covered here is listed. So the main thing is iPads. Galaxy S3 is what we show for the surface mount charging port, as well as some through hole with the points on the side. And then again, the repairs covered here. So if you want more detail on them, you click on each individual one here. Our sales team has a lot of info on this too, so feel free to reach out to them. Game console board repair training is one of our new ones, but it's become more common lately, especially with your Xbox Series X and your PS5. The HDMI ports we've seen broken a lot. Switch charging ports are a big one too. There's some IC stuff we'll do as well. And generally, when it comes to really any of these board level repairs, if you can source the component, or if we can source the component, you can do the repair. And as far as aside from sourcing parts, the other thing you get with doing training from a school or someone like us is you get the insight on how to tell what's wrong with the device. Because that's a big thing with microsoldering, is not just fixing the issue, but knowing what the issue is to fix. Because if you just go in there trying to replace random components, hoping that you'll find the right one, you're wasting a lot of time. We go through how to read schematics, how to use a multimeter and compare readings from component to component to identify what's the fault there and what needs to be changed. So just a little bit of insight there, but I'm getting close to my 10-minute mark, and I told myself this would be shorter, so I'm going to wrap things up there. If you have any questions related to microsoldering repair or training, feel free to reach out. Closing thing before we go, I'm going to bring up Gadget Repair Expo one more time. So this is the show that we're going to be at in April. Correction from last week where I listed that it was April 6th to 7th. It's actually April 5th to 6th. And we are in booth 5. If you want to check in the exhibition floor, we'll be at booth 5. If you want to get tickets, gadgetrepairexpo.com is where you're going to want to go. Highly recommend going. There's going to be a lot of industry leaders at the expo, from parts to training to just different services. Definitely want to see everyone there. And again, we're going to keep reminding people as the event comes up. But that's all I had for today's stream. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And next week, I will actually be out, but we're going to have Omar, our buyback. Sorry, I said that wrong. The head of our buyback and RMA department, speaking a little bit on our buyback program. So if you've had questions related to buybacks, definitely recommend that you tune into that one because it's going to be a great one. See everyone next week. Have a good weekend.